Committee on Public Works and Transportations will now come to order. Madam Clerk, will you call the roll?
Councilor Dion?
Here.
Councilor Pelletier?
Here.
Chair Kadim?
Here. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledgeable and permissible. First item on the agenda is citizen input. I don't believe anybody signed up for that. We'll go to item number 2, minutes for January 14th, 2021. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to adopt. Move.
Motion was made by
Second.
Councilor Pelletier, seconded by Councilor Dion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Item number 3 is the minutes for February 23rd, 2021. Is there a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt. Second.
Motion made by Councilor Dion, seconded by Councilor Pelletier. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Item number 4 is an order, Matthew Medeiros, 316 Gifford Road, Westport, Mass., for the removal of 16 feet of curbing in addition to an existing 11.5-foot driveway for a total of 27.5 feet at 3335 Ward Street. This was referred to committee on June 8th, 2021. Is there anybody from the city that's going to speak on this matter?
The gentleman's outside up in the car is on the phone. From
Okay.
the city or
Yeah, no, for the city, yeah, if you folks want to just come down.
I think it's going to be basically me and Dennis for all.
Okay.
If you want us to just
Yeah,
say
you
the
feel like
table,
just,
we will.
yeah, perfect.
Good evening, councilors.
Good evening.
Good evening. And then when the gentleman comes in, we'll have him come down to the table. But I think originally there were some concerns about, from Councilor Pelletier with regards to some of these, and I don't know if it was particularly this one, but with the curb removals, those that are at least have 20 feet currently, why are we extending them? So just wanted to get the administration's opinion on these matters.
If I may.
Yep, Councilor Pelletier.
I see more and more of these going through with big numbers. When you come in for 16, 18, in addition 6, okay, that's not too bad. When you come in, you got 20, you're looking for another 20. Or come in with 16, you're looking for another 16. And I said, these people get notified or not get notified, that's it. And after we pass it, and then they say, oh, geez, I didn't know. So that's what I'm trying to eliminate, that make sure these guys get the message that they may take this amount, and may take this amount, and that way we set the record straight. With that, I yield for now.
Thank you.
Do we want to let him speak first?
Yes, could you just state your name and address for the record, please?
Manuel Soers, 316 Gifford Road, Westport. This is my son's
Application.
house,
Okay.
yes. And I'd be actually probably the one that pulls the curb. I just want to say that it's a rental unit. There's 2 apartments. Each person that lives in an apartment has a car, so there's 2 cars on each side. The piece of curb that we're taking is in front of the property. The 2 cars that we take off the street will take up more curb space if left on the street. There's 4 cars presently for the people that own that house. So I think it's definitely less of a detriment having that curb cut there than not.
Councilor Pelletier.
Wade Street, is that in Fall River somewhere?
Ward.
Oh, I mean Ward.
Yes.
Is that in Fall River somewhere?
Off New Boston
I
Road.
couldn't find it.
Off New Boston.
No
Off of New
Boston?
Boston Road.
It's a big road?
No, it's a small
Yeah.
Runs
side
parallel with
street.
Garden.
Yeah,
Kind of a like a nice neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, like, we don't really know. I didn't know where it was, first of all. But this makes sense because you're taking 2 in one building, 2 in there to me. That's okay, now I know. It's not, it's good to know what
Yeah,
you're
it's
doing.
a 2-family and it's a 2-floor.
2-floor,
so
yeah.
It's a duplex side by side.
Yeah, okay.
One person, one family lives on one, is going to be on one side.
Yeah.
And right presently, one family's leaving their cars on the street, so there's 2
I have no
cars on the street.
problem with that.
And
Are you?
Councilor T.
You answer a couple of your questions that you posed earlier. So each one of these requests that come in is vetted out through engineering,
Yeah.
and then after the fact through the traffic commission as well. So when we get the request, Dennis will go out and inspect it. A notice to the abutters, so anybody who's neighbors with your son or in that area will get the notice that the curb is going to be pulled
Yeah.
and cut, and then that way they have the heads up that, if they want to say something or they have some input, they'll be given that chance. So there is a process that
Yeah.
is followed. where we try to vet every one of them out. So just to rest assured on that.
It's also one of those streets where during a snowstorm, you can only park on one side of the street.
Yeah.
So, again, my son just recently purchased it last winter. So
Yeah.
it wasn't occupied during the winter, but we were up there doing the snow removal, and we can see where it's going to be. This will be definitely a help to the neighborhood, being able to keep them cars off the street.
Okay, I yield.
Counsel Dion?
Yeah, the side of the street that can be parked on during snow bans, is it the side that this house is on or the opposite side?
I'm not, I think it's the side where the house is.
So does that create any detriment or any problem for any other residents, or have they always occupied the spaces that would be used during a snow
As I
ban?
said, 2 cars are in the driveway, 2 cars are in the street. So now when you have to remove them from the other side, yes, the whole front of the, prior to having this curb cut, we'd take up more space than frontage of the house. So I think we'd be definitely helping the neighborhood by doing that. There'd still be an additional space in front of the house that we wouldn't be using.
Counsel Dion, just looking at Google Maps, it looks like from the image that the hydrant is on that side, so that would be the side that you're not supposed to park
That
on.
you're not supposed to park on. So actually, that would be a good thing, because it would make it easier for plowing in the winter. Okay, so that's actually a plus in this situation. Mrs. Ferrer, have you seen this? Is this something you're good with?
Yes, one of the things that we look in the traffic commission, of course, we get the letter and we get the measurements, we review, make sure everything it matches and everything. The chairman does go out and check every single one of them. And one of the things that he looks for is how many vehicles, what kind of homes are in these neighborhoods. A lot of times when someone wants to open up a driveway, they tell us, because they come to the meeting, and it's basically to try to get as many cars as they can off the road. So you either open up 16 feet or more to get 2 or 3 cars into a driveway, or those 2 or 3 cars will park anywhere and everywhere. So we usually approve these with no problem, unless there's a question with the measurements that don't match or don't agree, then we deny it and it goes back to engineering. But we approve mostly all of them because, like I said, the area is viewed by the chairperson, and he feels that it is getting cars off the street, at least 2 to 3, if not more.
Okay, I know.
Okay, with that I
sorry.
yield.
Sorry, Counselor. I know this was referred because we had somebody who was opposed to the curb cuts. Do you want to speak?
Not necessarily opposed, I do have some questions, though.
Okay. Do you mind going, to the
I can-
mic just
I
to?
can go over there and make
You want to do
a
that? Okay.
Yeah, sure. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good.
Sorry. She'll still get camera time. It zooms. If you could just state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Patricia Rigo. I am a resident at 25 Ward Street. My mother owns the property at 2325, and I am her trustee, so I speak on her behalf.
Okay. Thank you.
So I'm thrilled that the house is being taken care of by somebody new, but when I received the notice, I didn't really have a lot of information. It was a little vague for me. So my question was more how much curbing. It's not a very large lawn, and the side that, if I'm to understand this correctly, it's going to be one driveway on one side and then another on the other side of the house, which is the closest to my mother's side. And I just want to kind of understand the whole, I've never, done with curbing and whatnot, so I just don't understand how that's going to affect the way that looks, because, it isn't really residential neighborhood. I know you live on the street over from us, so you kind of understand the neighborhood. I understand that it takes cars off the road, but I've lived there most of my life, except for the time that I wasn't there for about 15 years, and we don't really usually have a parking situation, which I think people should be able to do whatever they want to do with their property. So it's just more that I needed to understand what this was about, because this does affect the way that side of the street is going to look. It affects the side, it just affects the property. So it was more of a question of I didn't have enough information to not object. So, yeah, that was my question. Really.
So I guess could you just speak to where the curb cut is going to?
It's going to basically be the mirror image of what's on the left-hand side. We have on the left-hand side, and in fact, we'll be redoing that one also, just to repair it, and it'll be the same exact.
So it's going to be like long all the way back.
It'll be to be able to put 2 cars straight in. It'll we're going to replace all the sidewalk, we're going to pull the curb, and then we're going to pave in far enough to get 2 cars in. We're not going to connect it like the Benson
All
Park.
right.
We're not going to connect
Well,
it.
that was my concern. I wasn't sure if it was going to be like a
Well-
circular driveway
Well,
or...
actually, he has a permit right now to rebuild the deck in the back of the house.
Oh, very nice.
And he just started redoing the siding in the house, and so he's getting ready to upgrade the house.
And then, obviously, if you're going to redo the sidewalk, the tree stump will go.
That would be something I'd have to probably work out with Dennis, and, Century's been doing some work, and if it can come out, yeah.
That would
we
come
got
to
no
the tree
problem.
department, we notify the tree department if there's a
Stump.
tree stump there.
Okay. But nothing's going to happen to the other tree.
I mean,
I love the
it's-
trees.
it's-
There's been so many trees down in the neighborhood, and it's really just, it's a shame to see a lot
I
of...
mean, the
trees
tree
go.
stump, we probably
The
could
tree
look
stump
into
is
putting
fine.
another tree back there, too, if there was a stump,
I know that
we're
to
all
take a
about
healthy tree down, we'd have to put that before the park board. That request would have to go in.
Okay.
And we have an arborist that would inspect that to begin with, so I wouldn't look at that as an issue. The stump obviously would be an issue if he's looking to redo the sidewalk, which we'll work with Dennis to make sure it gets done correctly.
Okay.
Motion?
Motion? Well, I guess
I'm
before
fine.
we do that,
That
is that
answers
all
my
your
questions.
questions?
I really just wanted to know if it was going to be like a concrete jungle or if we were going to still have some lawn. So it sounds great, and I wish you all the best with it, so.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Motion?
Yeah, a motion to grant 16 feet, curb
Second.
and removal.
Motion to grant the curb cut of 16 feet was made by Councilor Pelletier, seconded by Councilor Dion. All discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted, motion carries.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Item number 5 is an order for Michelle Aruda, 37 Chicago Street, for the removal of 16 feet of curbing in addition to an existing 16-foot driveway for a total of 32 feet at 37 Chicago Street. This was referred to the committee on May 11, 2021. Discussion, questions? I know this goes back to especially Chicago Street. This is a little bit more different than Ward Street. Some of the side streets down on the south end tend to be a little bit more congested with no off-street parking. So if we can just talk about the approval process in terms of by eliminating some parking spaces there, and then I'll turn it over to Councilor Pelletier for some questions.
So the approval process would be the same for any request that we get. Again, Dennis would go out and inspect. If we saw no issues in the engineering department, that would get forwarded to the traffic commission, where it would then get vetted again. So obviously, like you said, this one's a little bit different. This one is where, as Ms. Rigo had said, this particular resident is looking to connect the 2 sides so that they can have a horseshoe driveway to go in and go out. Now, I will let Mr. Silva here speak to what he saw out there when he went, and Councilor Pelletier obviously has some comments, so we'll let him.
If I can correct them.
Yeah, if you can.
The original was to have a horseshoe.
Okay.
That's gone. Now it's 16 feet more, not addition, but somewhere down the line, closer to the White House, the Savigny's house. So they want to put another 16 feet there. They're going to take 2 spots out. They already got parking for 2 cars, maybe 3 cars. So that's how I feel about this. I don't know the individuals here. I know the Savigny's here to speak on it. But as the engineer knows, you guys put 4 or 5 houses there. They all got driveways. Ron's house, he's got 9 cars, plus the hairdresser that needs the room to survive. He's been there about 35 years. And it just doesn't make sense to me with everybody that's got a driveway that she's going to have 2 driveways. If the individuals here come down and speak on it, try to make us agree to it or not, but as far as I'm concerned, she don't need the other driveway. But the engineer can speak on it a little more.
So while you're just talking about that, if you can also, just looking at the photos here, this house is directly across from what used to be the parish there, right? So we've got all those single-family developments there, and I know they've got driveways, but I forget how many houses were built there too. So did we take into consideration the congestion with the new houses as well with this curb cut?
So I think we take all of that into account. I'm not sure if the traffic commission looks at, residential houses in that particular area, but obviously parking is huge. So I would imagine that they would look at that, and let Ms. Spur into that for the traffic commission.
Yeah, they do. And what happens is, I know that we also look at your average home could be anywhere between 3 to 4 cars, especially if they have teenagers, then you have like 4 cars. So and then you have a little get-together, and Chicago Street is a one-way, and with adding all those homes there, let's just say a couple of those homes, they just fit 2 cars in the driveway, and the rest have to be parked on the street. So we take that all into consideration as well.
Yeah, this was looked at by the former city engineer, Chris Gallagher. And like Laura's saying, the process is there. Everybody is allowed to have 16 feet, as we all know. And we decided many years ago, I've been here 21 years, and it was decided back then that the councilors wanted to have more input on curb cuts. So anything over 16 has to go in front of the council. But then, through the years, we added traffic into the mix. So traffic could actually go over there and look at it also. So it really boosted the way we looked at this and made it a little more difficult to have situations where somebody just wants to open up their driveway, maybe to get back at somebody. So the system's there. The resident at this particular house wants to take more cars and put them in there, and they needed that. Now, whether it was for a horseshoe driveway originally, and they changed it, but the fact still remains that they had 16, they're looking for another 16, which brings it up to the 32 feet, and we've all both departments have looked at it at the time. Like I said, it was Chris Gallagher, the former city engineer, who's no longer with us.
Councilor Dion?
Yeah, so is this a single-family home?
It is.
And how many cars are they trying to accommodate?
I'm telling you, there's individually, I only see 2 cars, I believe.
Yeah, is it?
She's here. Could you come down? Do you mind? You're welcome. If you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Michelle Aruda, 37 Chicago Street.
So how many cars are you trying to accommodate, and what's the purpose of getting this extra 16 feet? And is it going to be horseshoe? Is it now
It's
wide
horseshoe.
open? It's still going to be
Yeah,
horseshoe?
it's still horseshoe, yes. And it's for 2 cars, which 2 cars fit there. It's myself and my son. But I wanted to extend the driveway so I would have more parking. My son is thinking about getting a boat. So that's why we wanted to extend the driveway. And also when my mom comes over, my sister, my niece, they can park in my driveway, not in the street. That way it frees up the street for other parking.
So you would have 16 feet at one end of the horseshoe and 16 feet at the other end, so it would be allowed parking in between, or is this?
Yes. So actually, it wouldn't even be 16. I tried to change it to 10 because I didn't realize how much feet I needed. But the person that I spoke to said that I couldn't change it now because it was on the paperwork for me to say it here. So it would be 10, not 16. But regardless, if it was 10 or 16, you would still have, I would be eliminating 1 parking spot. I took pictures of the property. If you want me to pass it around to show people, that way you can see what I'm talking about, what my property looks like, how big my property is. I have a huge amount of land in front of my property. As of right now, you can fit 6 cars in front of my property, which there's not 6 cars in front of my property because there's plenty of parking on the street. So I took a picture of all the cars that park at night so you could see who parks where, because most of the time they always park in the same spot. I wouldn't be doing this if it was a tight street. Like, I used to live on Palmer Street. I used to live on Rockland Street. That's a tight street. I would never do this. I wouldn't be rude to the neighbors to do that. I'm just asking for extra space. This is what I wanted. When I first bought my home, I always said I wanted to have a horseshoe driveway because my aunt has one, and I just loved the way it looked. That's why I want to do it, and also for extra parking for myself. If I have a party, where are they going to park? I'm going to bother everybody else. They have their spots. Like, I have the land for it, so why not use it? The right side of my property, that's dead space to me. I can't even use that. What can I do with that side? So that's why I thought if I opened it up, I have more parking, and when I have guests that come over, they can park over there. Or if somebody else, right now I'm single, but if I was to meet somebody else, obviously that's another car parking in the driveway.
I would like to see the pictures,
Sure.
because I think part of my confusion at this point is you alluded to the fact of your son getting a boat. I can understand the premise of a horseshoe driveway in terms of, making it easy to pull in and pull out, but I don't understand the concept of parking a boat in a horseshoe driveway. To me, that's the opposite effect of what you would be looking for. So that was kind of a little bit of a sticking point, I think. But if I can see the pictures, that'll be great.
Sure.
That should be helpful.
And I also went to all the neighbors last night, and I had them sign a petition that I made up stating that they wouldn't oppose the curbing. So I brought the letter that I got in the mail saying what I'm going to do to my property. I showed all the neighbors, and they signed the paper saying that they would approve it. They have nothing against me opening up another driveway. And I have copies of that as well.
Well, while Councilor Dion is just looking at the photos, in terms of the horseshoe, are you going to be going towards the house, or are you going to be going towards the yard? So are you going towards Stafford Road or Rodman Street with the
Stafford.
circle? Stafford.
So when you turn onto the street and you're facing my property to the right, I would be going this way.
So you would be going to the open space closer to that commercial property?
Yes.
The 3 tenement, right?
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
where your horseshoe would
Yes.
take place?
And right now, if I was to open that up, there's 2 spots available right now. So if I was to open that up, that only gives 1 spot. But I still have another 4 spots in front of the right side of my property. Oh, there's some more. Sorry. Sorry. I didn't know what to bring. I just brought everything. Sorry.
Oh, it is.
Okay, I'm going to assume this one-floor house is yours?
Yes.
Okay, because there's a number of photos
Yes.
of numerous houses,
I know.
so...
I'm sorry. I took pictures of the whole street so you guys can see where they park.
Okay. So when you say the horseshoe, so if I were driving down the street with your house on the right-hand side,
Yes.
the opening would be before where your driveway is now?
Yes. So you would have a space in the middle for another car. So it would be my driveway, another car, and then my driveway that goes into the horseshoe.
Okay. So I guess my other question would be, you said that you feel that the right side of your house is dead space.
The whole front of my house is dead space. There's 6.
But if I'm facing your house to the right side of your driveway,
Yes.
you consider that to be dead space?
Yeah, there's no cars that park over there.
Okay.
But to the left of my house, are you facing my house?
I'm facing your house at the
Okay, so you're
moment.
facing my house. To the right of my house,
Is a grassed area?
Yes.
And you consider that dead space?
yes, like it's just open land.
Okay, so
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I have a lot of grass to cut over there. So if I extend the driveway over there, not only will I have more parking, and it's less grass for me to take care of. If he gets a boat, I can park the boat over there too, and not have to bother anybody.
Okay, I guess what I'm getting at is your driveway is pretty wide. You obviously can fit, you probably can almost fit 3 cars wide.
Yep.
So my question would be, would it make more sense just to add driveway in the grassed-in area and not cut the curb, that you could pull in your driveway and pull right into additional parking, rather than take any spaces off the street?
I thought about that, but I just thought it would be easier using going in one way, going out another way, and also if somebody wanted to come in by the right way as well, if I had more cars.
Did you see these? I don't know. I think in my world, that would work for everyone, as opposed to, because you're right, you have a significant amount of space there. And you could have significant parking, and I don't know, I don't see that it's not easy in, easy out, other than the fact that you have to back up. That's just where my thoughts are going right now. With that, I'll yield.
And the neighbors across the street from me as well, they're extending their driveway as well, but not removing curb. They're just extending to get their cars off the street.
Any
So
other
they're making
questions?
a deeper driveway?
They are going out more to the right, but they can only go out so many feet because they don't have a lot of land space in front of their house. And one of them is pushing it back.
Okay, with that I yield, sorry.
Counsel Pelletier?
Looking at the whole thing, to make it, to say we're not going to give you something, I think we ought to compromise. That driveway is 16 feet. And, you know, to put 2 cars on top, yeah, you can put them there.
But
Maybe
then
a
you
little-
have to play musical chairs to get rid of them once, if you.
One side by side, side by side.
Yep.
And then you can put 2 in the back. So I think you could do 4 there if the company comes over. But Council Dion is right, that if you take the 16 feet and this little piece here, 4 feet,
Yep.
take that out, now you got 20 feet. You got plenty of room, and you're not gonna lose 2 in the street. I mean, I would go for something like that. But the horseshoe, I won't go for it, 'cause you're taking too many parking spaces. I think this would work if you want to compromise. I think it's the way to go. You know, that's my feeling. But the horseshoe for me is, I don't buy it. The 20 feet, you can take that out. You can get the car in there. There'll be plenty of room. And like I said, the corner's got 9 cars in there. And I don't know how many cars they put in the yard, maybe 5 or 6, maybe, I don't know. Then they got the hairdresser business, been there for a long time. And, you know, they still need parking in the daytime, and maybe at night it's not that busy. I don't know, but for me to grant the driveway to go in 16 here and out this way is out of the question. But you should think about the compromise. Would you go for something, another 4 feet? For 20 feet? No, that's not reasonable.
I wanted to go for the horseshoe.
Well,
That's what
You know,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
a lot of things we want, but there's
Yeah.
other people that live in the neighborhood as well, and there's a business there, and I'm looking on their behalf as well.
And I understand that, and it, like I said, if I thought the street was a busy street, like Palmer Street or Rockland Street, that's where I used to live, I wouldn't be doing this, because that's rude. But the fact that there's 10 cars that park there at night, I sit out on my porch, I see it, it's 10 cars, there's plenty of spacing. If you were to come home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 8 o'clock, go to the club, come home at 1 o'clock at night, there's plenty of parking spots.
All right, well, that's my feelings. I don't know about my colleagues, and we didn't hear from the other side of the coin here.
And also, if there's a parking ban, it would be on the opposite side, it wouldn't be on my side, when there's snow.
They can park on
I
both sides there?
just have one more comment.
You yield, Counsel Dion?
Yeah, I agree with you 100% that at the least, probably that 4 feet should come out anyways, because it actually is an impediment to her driveway. I would even be willing to go another 2 feet, make it, 6 feet, that's almost right to the bush there. That would definitely make it more than easy enough to accommodate everything that she needs and not impede with anything else. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm thinking the 4 feet is what extends into the driveway. So even if you went another 2 feet, so certainly the three cars wide is phenomenal amount of room, I think, and would make it very easy to access that other area and make that as big of a parking space or parking lot, or however you want to term it. With that, I yield.
I think at that point, we're almost getting to the 10 feet, right, that she's requesting?
Right.
Yeah.
So I know the
16
application
Says 16.
was 16 feet, but she is, I guess, amending it on the table, looking for 10 feet. So if you're doing that for probably to the, and I'm just looking at it, I would say that that's about 10 to that tree, or where you have the plantings out there on that grass area.
Yep.
Well, I think the difference, and again, it's just my thought, is you're just widening by a bit what exists as opposed to putting another 10-foot opening further down.
Can I just speak onto that?
Sure.
Sorry. So by me doing the horseshoe, so I put 16 because I didn't realize that, but when I counted it, if I at least have 10 so I can get my car in and out of that curb cutting, Then once I get past the curb cutting, I extend it wider onto my property. Therefore, I can get even more cars. So if I was to get a boat, I would go in from that way, drive it straight up, park it to the back. And I also have the U. That's what I was trying to say. If I take 4 or 5 feet from the right, like you're saying, you're still leaving one spot on that side. It still comes down to the same thing. If I take 10 from the other side, you still have one spot. Either way, you're still left one spot on that side.
This is going to sound like a strange question, I'm sure. Does anybody know the length of the curb from her driveway to the neighbor's driveway?
So I was going to ask a little different question. So you've got sections of the granite curbing, right? So it looks like it's roughly 4 feet for that one curbing there. That's what doesn't look like a full curb.
Okay.
And then you got what looks like 3 additional granite curb slots. Is that an 8-footer? Is that?
They're all
They all-
in size.
okay.
They vary in size. They fit them together as they need, choose them out if they have.
So you could be, there's possibly, there could be
What I tried to gauge.
three 8-footers there after the.
Right, so I was gonna say 24 feet, because if you look across the street on this particular photo, you count the sidewalk squares, which are on average about 4 feet in
Yep.
length. I count about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 6 times 4.
Mhm.
You know what I mean, you're right around there, 24, 25 feet, I would say that length would be. If I had to guess,
Yeah.
based on just trying to assume from that perspective. 25.
Council Dion, you still have the floor.
Yeah, with that I yield.
Okay. Is there any other questions for the applicant before I ask for people who are opposed to the curb cutting?
And can I just say one more thing?
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm not doing this to be mean to Ron. I like Ron. He's a great neighbor. He always has been a great neighbor. Everybody in my neighborhood is. I'm just doing this because this is what I always wanted when I said I was going to purchase a home. And thankfully I have enough land to do that. And like I said, I have more parking for anybody else who was to come to my property if I was to have a party or anything.
Okay, appreciate that. Any opponents that want to speak?
Oh, thank you.
If you could just state your name and address for the record.
My name is Ron Savigny. I live at 250 Kennedy Street, Fall River. And I am opposed to this strictly. This is insane. I've owned the building for 40 years. The beauty parlor's been there for over 40 years and before. This, to me, the beauty parlor is already complaining that he's having problems. He's got one spot, or whatever, 1.5 spots he has. But you look at the volume, the house I have there has a total of 8 units in it. I have 6 off-street parking on the premises. The rest is parked on the streets. There is a total of 13 cars that come in to actually, so I only have 6, so 7 have to park on the street. So with the new homes, we have no idea. This built there. We have no idea what the traffic is going to be in the future because they originally only put 2 parking places in some of the new homes. Now she's saying they're making another additional parking. We have 2 places on Stafford Road, which there's no parking on Stafford Road. So where they're going to park? They're going to park on Chicago Street. So we really have a situation here where we're going to have a disaster. I mean, you can imagine what happens in the winter where you can only park on one side. I mean, we're talking 13 cars. This is my premise, not counting I'm only saying 3 people for the beauty parlor. He's always got, on Saturdays, it's loaded. He's already told the people that may have to park over in the park, at the area in the park, which is not fair, because I've had the building, now everything there is new. I've been there before anybody. We've had a great business. The beauty parlor's been there for, the person right now has been there for 25 years. I've owned the building for 40. They had a park, they had the church at one time, and we had a real bad problem because of the church, of the senior center and all that. But that went away, and it was parkland for a while, whatever land it was. People's Incorporated owned it. They decided to sell it to make all single-family homes there. I told Mike Dion, who would talk to that you need at least three parking places for every car, every new home that goes up there, they're 3 and 4 bedroom units. So how can we adjust now? These kids, to get 2 kids, they got 16, 17-year-old. You got 2 more cars. And there's 6 or 7 new homes there. I think, we're talking, I agree with, I'll bend over, I'll say, add 4 feet to that. Otherwise, that between those two, it's coming down all the time to my property, where there's a couple of parking places I got. Now, you keep on doing anything there, you're wiping out more parking space. So eventually, I think, honestly and truly, we cannot handle anymore. We go through a winter. They come back next year. If everything looks like I feel it shouldn't be. It's something that we have to prove. These are all new homes. We don't know how much these kids are how many younger kids are going to have cars. I looked when they were saying 2 parking places. I said they can't have 2. Well, you're going to have a 3 or 4 bedroom house and you only have 2 parking places? They get company, they get kids, and all the kids have a car. So it's a disaster. I can see it. I just wish people could understand. I'm willing to say, look, we'll give it a year and we'll see how the traffic problems come out.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr.
One more.
Savigny? Yep. Councilor Dion?
Actually, through the chair, Mrs. Ferrera, how many feet do you need for a parallel parking space?
20 feet we go by.
Every car needs 20 feet?
Correct, because you don't know if it's going to be a van, an SUV, so we always do 20 feet.
So in this space, you can only park 1 vehicle? Let me give you the.
That's if my estimate is correct.
I'm looking at this picture right here. So you can only park 1 vehicle in that space?
You could park 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can park 2 vehicles, but if you take out the middle and the middle, you can park no vehicles.
That's right.
You can park 1.
You can
if
park
she
1.
She'll be able to park. Well, not she.
Can you
but
just
a
use
vehicle will
can you
be
just
able
use
to
the
park
mic?
here.
Laura, you can just use it. I'm sorry.
Right now, you fit 2 vehicles. If this driveway goes in, you will only be able to fit 1 vehicle here.
But if this is 10 feet, and you have 7 feet on each end, how do you park any vehicles?
Right.
I don't know.
Basically, my question. Look,
Correct. I don't know the measure. We're looking at a picture. A picture is
Right.
deceiving. So if you're there and you can squeeze 2, if you have 2 small cars, you probably can fit 2 cars there. No matter what, you're going to eliminate one parking spot. Whether it's 16 feet or 10 feet, you're going to take 1 parking spot away.
Mr. Perry,
I don't agree with that. Can I say something?
Just
Whatever-
hold on, Mr. Savigny. Just question, Mr. Perry.
Mr. Perry,
Okay.
have you seen that picture as well?
I did. I did see that picture. So again, on my estimate was 24. If that is up to 40 feet, it does look reasonable to say you could fit 2 cars there. But to Ms. Ferrera's point, whether we do 10 feet or 16, you're losing 1 spot. So I would say if we went 6 feet, you might gain that extra spot. But if you're going to give the 10, then you're going to lose that spot anyway. So I don't think that the decision should be based on that. It should be based on how you feel that driveway should look.
Right,
so
right.
Is it all right if we go back to Mr. Savigny?
Yes.
Well,
Just the mic. Can you just speak into the mic, please?
Hello,
Thank you.
there's usually 2 cars that I see parked there. One, matter of fact, every night I see there's 1 car there. I don't know who it is, car, but there's 1 car parked in the middle. So there ain't going to be anybody regulating when there's a spot. Some people park and you don't have anything else available. Not everybody parks the perfect backs in and puts the perfect parking space. Some people park. I can't back up myself, so I look for I pull in. I may be losing another parking place when you park there. So, we're talking about a massive amount of people here. These kids, this is only starting. This whole thing you see before you ride. We'll be back here with a major parking problem. I'm willing to say, look, let's test it out for a year. If she can wait a year, hopefully she can wait a year and say, look, if it does prove that we don't have a parking problem there, that's fine with me.
Okay.
I think my sticking point, honestly, is if the yard were limited I could understand it better. And you have to also realize I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody who has no off-street parking. So when I look at that and I see so much potential for so much parking without affecting anyone else, it's hard for me to rationalize it to a certain extent. With that, I yield.
Okay. Is there any other discussion?
Just fast, I well where the curb is, and you can take 2, even if you took 4 feet or 5 feet, you can still put 2 there. But, you know, if that's what you want, that's not what you want. You want to go the other way. The other way, to me, you lose at least 1 spot or 2 spots, that's all. So, you know, it's up to the committee and
All right, before we make any decision, any questions from Mr. Savigny? I just want to see if there's any other people that are opposed to the curb cut. Is there anybody else? Seeing none.
Can I
Mr.
say a
Savigny?
few more words?
Yep.
I'd like to see what happens when, see, she just mentioned that people already see a parking problem. They're putting a side drive along. They're trying to compensate so that they can see the problem coming. That you would, if you're going to put another, the houses have two front parking places. If they're thinking about adding, so if they get company, they're going to have all their kids. You can see they're already thinking about it, but that's not going to solve the problem in the future, in the near future, but some might not do that. And there's the houses on Stafford Road, which have nowhere, where are they going? They have no place to park other than on Chicago Street, other than the 2 they have. I'm just serious. I had this property for 40 years. I don't need to now take on a traffic problem, but it's going to happen. I don't know how to explain it any more than that, because I've been there for years. I've seen when they had the senior center there. I've seen what happened there. I've seen all these different, now you build all those houses, yeah, they got 2 parking places, but they get kids, they got friends, people come over. You even though you're talking, we're only going to lose 1 parking place. I think we're going to have a parking problem. We're not losing any of the no.
Yeah, no, I think the committee recognizes that. So, Ms. Ruda?
Yes, if I can just say something. I don't want to disrespect you. I'm not disrespecting you, okay? You've been there for 40 years, I understand that. But things change. There's new homes over there. And the neighbors across the street, I personally went up to them and I asked them if they were going to have a problem. They said no. They're extending their driveways because they don't want their kids to park on the street. So those cars are going to be taken off the street and be put onto their driveway. That's why they're extending it. It's not because of the problem of parking. It's because they don't want their cars in the street. They bought a house to park the cars on their property. That's why everybody wants the cars on their property.
So everybody's putting another parking place, is telling me.
But not curb cut. They're only extending 2 to 3 feet because that's the only...
That's the thing you can do. I mean, that's me.
I understand that, but I wanted the horseshoe because I wanted to make it bigger so I can fit more cars.
Okay, so I just don't want to get into a debate between the two of you. Is there, Mr. Perry, you got something to say?
So I would just make a suggestion before a motion is made and voted on. If it's this committee's opinion that this curb cut of 16 feet be denied, possibly offer Ms. Aruda the option of the 10-foot or 6-foot if that's what you prefer, and maybe she'll be agreeable to that, as opposed to just denying it altogether. If there is a compromise, perhaps she'd accept that as well, and if that's the committee's happy with that, then that way at least everybody can walk away with some sort of compromise here. Just a suggestion. I just didn't want the motion to be made, and then we can't go back.
So if there's no other discussion, I'll entertain a motion, but if we are going to, and I'll get to it, if we are going to make an amendment, we just need to be clear as to where the amendment for that curb cut is going to be, because the request right now is where the current curbing is to move over and have it there, so it's not in conjunction with the current opening. So in essence, it's not an extension of the current driveway, so we just need to make sure if there's an amendment to that would clarify that. Madam Clerk?
I just had a question. Would this be allowable to be amended, or would she need to file for a new permit? Because everything on this permit would be incorrect.
Yeah, I would imagine a new permit would have to be filed. Whether it would have to come back before this committee, I don't think so. I think once the amendment was the vote was taken based on the amendment, we could do the paperwork after the fact. And I'm not sure if that affects the Traffic Commission, Mrs. Ferrara.
No, I think that if we can do, I know with traffic, if you can do an amendment to that application already, then it wouldn't have to come through traffic and ordinance because it's just an amendment.
We would file the paper, I'm sorry.
Okay.
We would file the paperwork in engineering with the correct numbers that are amended here
And
today.
that would be acceptable.
Correct.
Any other discussion?
I have one more question. I'm thinking in terms of a compromise. So basically, your want for the horseshoe is to make easier in, easier out, that you have easier access if you extend the parking on the side of your house, etc.,
Yes, but not only
correct?
that, if we were to get a boat, I could just drive in from the right side and just go straight up. That way it's parked over there.
Okay. So I agree with Council Kadim in terms of 6 feet here, 6 feet there. In a sense, what difference does that make? Again, more inclined to say just add the extra parking space. Would an 8-foot opening accommodate being able to pull the boat in, turn, come out the other side, and still allow for perhaps at least 1 to 2 vehicles, if they're small, to park on the street so that everybody can have what they want? Or would that not be reasonable?
What about the 8-foot? I think it would be too tight. I'm not sure. But either way, I think 8 and 10 feet, it would be the same amount of cars being left to be parked on that one side. I think. I mean, if the 8 feet is going to work out that you can still park too, that's fine. I'll squeeze it in there somehow.
Well, we're going on the premise that it is 24 feet. Maybe we'll find out it's 26 feet that are there. I don't
Yeah.
know. Mr. Savigny, how would you feel about something like that? Do you think that that was so we could still get cars on the street?
No, I think the thing is if she could extend her driveway and makes what originally we were saying, if you give her 4 feet or 6 feet, make a turnaround, and that to go taking another piece coming out and taking some curbing, another big chunk of curbing out, 8, 10 feet. We're giving her whatever she wanted. I mean, there's no. I mean, it's exactly what. If you give her 10 feet, she does exactly. I think the factor is that add to her which already cut with the driveway she has right now. Give her 6 feet onto that or 4 feet onto that. I prefer 4, but give her 6 feet. But I think I can't see anything beyond. It's basically just. I mean, the thing is, I wish we could say, look, we should study it. I mean, because this is going to be a problem. People are looking at me like I come from another planet here, but I'm seriously. I'm trying to avoid a problem in the future.
Yeah, no, I recognize that. So if there's no more discussion, because I just feel like the
I think Mr.
conversation is
Perry
repeating
has a
itself.
comment.
But if there are no more questions for Mr. Savigny, I know there's a gentleman in the audience that wants to come down and speak
Yep,
as well.
that's fine.
Okay.
Mr. Perry,
Okay,
do
that's
you
fine.
have a
If you
comment
can just state
on
your
that?
name and address for the record. I'm sorry, what was it?
Richard, is it working?
Yeah, we can hear Mr. Souza.
Is it, John?
Yes.
Is it working?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is that-
I'm listening
Richard,
to all this.
Mr. Souza, what's your address?
Oh, 208 Frost Street. The city councilor over there, she had the best idea. This way you're not interfering with any of the street park. You just extend your parking lot in your yard that you can put asphalt all the way up to the borderline of your property and park everything you want in there. Now, a boat that gets parked in there doesn't have to have asphalt. You can park a boat on a trailer on dirt, doesn't make any difference. Put gravel underneath it, and you're satisfying everyone. And he's right. Stafford Road, I don't know why they even did that. They put 2 houses on Stafford Road, which they're going to have a heck of a time trying to get out of those houses, even with the traffic. Never mind people going there to park. And, the beauty shop has been there, too. I've been up that neighborhood for many years now, and I see all the traffic problems up there. And I think putting an extension on your driveway, ma'am, would be suffice. You could park everything you want there, do the whole thing, and you're not interfering with those houses. That was the worst thing they could have done, is sold that and put all those houses there. Each house has got a 2-car garage. So, thank you, I yield.
Thank you, Mr. Souza. Is there anybody else that's looking to speak against the curb cutting? Seeing none, Mr. Perry?
So, just in the spirit of compromise, I think obviously we can see that there's two different sides to this, and I think a compromise is going to be needed. So in my humble opinion, I would make a suggestion that you possibly table this. Ms. Aruda here is not in a rush at this moment. We could go out and reassess that area, get you the proper measurements of what that curb space is that's there, and also take a closer look at it. Councilor Pelletier, Councilor Dion, you could meet us there if you want. We can try to come up with a solution and then bring it back before this body if that's amendable to everybody.
Okay.
That would be my suggestion.
Is there a motion?
Motion to table.
Motion to table was made by
Second.
Councilor Pelletier, seconded by Councilor Dion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Thank you. Matter is tabled, so Mr. Perry, you'll make...
Yeah, I'm going to
make
give
the...
her my number now, and we'll be in contact.
Perfect. Next item on the agenda is number 6, order Jordan Camara, 91 Pelham Street, to remove, for the removal of 10.5 feet of curbing in addition to an existing 30.5-foot driveway for a total of 41 feet at 91 Pelham Street. Referred to the committee on July 13th, 2021. Is the applicant here? Do you want to go on down?
Thank you.
Yeah. If you could just state your name and address for the record.
Jordan Camaro, 91 Pelham Street.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Council Pelletier?
Well, I tried to hit most of these today, and if I may ask you, you got the two-car garage there?
Yes, I believe it's on the east side.
And that little piece is where you want to add to?
Absolutely.
And what was that before?
That was a driveway. I closed on the house in December.
Yeah.
There's already about 4 feet missing.
Yeah.
I need about another 10 feet in order to, use that driveway for vehicles. It's like half missing curb and half driveway.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd like to remove the curb, redo the sidewalk, and redo the driveway and the lawn. The city's doing, I guess it's a project they're running. They're redoing the walkways. They have it all pre-marked. What I would be ripping out, the city's paying for to do it. If I go do the driveway, I have to pay for the driveway.
Yeah.
So that'd be extra budget for the town to use towards another walkway that needs to be done, because since I'm doing a driveway, they're not going to pay for that section. They are doing the whole front of my garage, which is 30 feet, I believe, plus where I want to open up the driveway. But if I go ahead and remove that curb, I have to pay for, the walkway to be redone for the driveway entrance, which would be more budget on the town also.
John, is he right? They're going to do the sidewalk?
He's correct about that. We are doing the sidewalk in that area.
And would he have to pull the curb out himself?
He would. So with this request, if it's approved, he would pull the curb and redo the sidewalk, and then when we came to get that done under the contract, then we'd finish what he didn't.
Well, like I said, I looked at it. There was a truck parked on top of the sidewalk, which don't make a difference, but I guess it's made for a parking space. There was a parking space before, wasn't it? That 10 feet? That's what it looks like.
I can't speak. I just bought the house.
Oh, okay.
I just bought the house in December. I can't say what they did or what they didn't do. It looked
Yeah.
like they tried using it at one point, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks ugly.
Yeah.
It needs to get fixed,
It is.
Like I said, I'd like to open up another 10 feet. Whoever was a contractor beforehand that did that, they opened up 4 feet to the left side and 4 feet to the right side that was uncalled for.
Yeah.
I believe both garage doors are like 20 feet, so they went above and beyond for
Yeah.
no reason.
You can only put one car there, right? On a 10-footer?
I don't know if I can go deeper, depending on if I can have the extra budget to make the driveway longer.
Longer.
I
Still
might be
10
able-
feet.
Still 10 feet, but I might be able to go too deep,
Yeah.
wide, 2 cars deep. But For right now, just one car.
For what I've seen, I mean, I don't think it's a problem. You got them barrels there. I may have to wash them out, though. They were tough, let me tell you. But that's besides the point. To me, I mean, it's not bad at all. And
I mean, also everybody in that, I mean, I own the corner lot. Everybody there has a driveway with the garage. Everybody's pretty respectful there. Everybody parks in front of their house. Each car maybe have 2 in the driveway, 2 in front of their house. Nobody parks on top of anybody. So everybody's pretty much respectful there. So whoever parks on my property, who lives on my property, they usually try to park on my side. They park in front of their house. So it kind of the mapping is actually pretty tight.
Either way, you're only going to get one car in there anyway.
Yeah.
Just
so
take it off the street and put it in the driveway.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing is that street they park on 2 sides.
Yeah.
It's Mott Street. They park on 2 sides, especially now with the construction, with the detour, and everybody's coming down from Warren down through Mott Street and avoiding all the satellites and the Stafford Road. Not that it's going to affect me now, because I mean I don't have the driveway. But if I had the driveway, when it comes into another situation like that, you know, I don't have to worry about my truck getting hit that I just purchased. So.
You.
You. Council Dion, you have anything?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Anybody opposed to the curb cut that would like to speak on the matter? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion to grant 15 feet of curbing taken out to the 30 feet.
10.
10 and a half.
10.
10.5.
Am I have trouble with my glasses here tonight?
Yeah.
Yep. So the motion was made by Council Pelletier to approve the removal of 10.5 feet of curbing to the existing 30.5 foot driveway. Is there a second? Seconded by Council Dion. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care of that hand.
Item number 7 is an order, Kristen Bagnell, 4621 North Main Street, for the removal of 16 feet of curbing in addition to an existing 20-foot driveway for a total of 36 feet at 4621 North Main Street. Referred to the committee July 13th, 2021.
Hi.
How are you? If you could just state your name and address for the record.
Michael Ferrera, 4621 North Main Street, speaking on behalf of Kristen Bagnell.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Ferrer. Is there any? Do you have anything to say, or do you want questions? Is there any questions with regard to the cut? Council
I went
Pelletier.
there today, and what's the name of that street? Your street there?
Apple
Creek.
Apple Creek, yeah. Actually, his driveway is on Apple Creek
Yep.
side. I think 18 feet,
Yeah, about 18.
and he's got that big
Camper.
home camper that he like
31
to
foot.
Yeah, that I like to get in the yard. And I guess there's not that many people that use parking for that,
Correct.
your area.
Is there parking allowed on that street? There is. Okay.
So to me, it was actually a no-brainer, so with
Okay.
that, I'm going to support it.
You yield?
Yeah.
All right.
I think the only comment I would have is it certainly is a lot easier and safer to pull in and out on the side street than North Main Street, the way traffic whizzes by there. That's about my only comment. To that I yield.
Any other discussion?
The only problem, you don't have enough room on Apple Creek. And with the footage that he's taken out, I mean, you have to be careful. It is a 2-lane, but I guess you've been doing this for a while?
I've been backing it in there.
For-
My neighbor lets me just cut through a driveway.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, is there a motion?
You got something? No?
Motion.
Motion to grant?
Motion.
Second.
Motion to approve the removal of 16 feet of curbing to the addition, in addition to the existing 20-foot driveway for a total of 36 feet was made by Council Pelletier, seconded by Council Dion. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Item number 8 is the final report, Chestnut Hill Drive from North Main Street to a dead end. This was referred to the committee on December 15th, 2020. This is for street acceptance. Oh, thank you. We'll get that. Discussion on this? Is there anybody who is opposed to the acceptance of Chestnut Hill Drive from North Main Street to the dead end for a street acceptance that wants to speak on the matter? Item 8? Yeah, that's the one we're on. So if you want to you can either come down to the table or if you want to use the mic, can you?
No, but these people are here too. No, we're not on this item.
Okay.
At 9. They're here for 9.
No, I'm here for Bell Street.
Oh, you're here for Bell Street. Okay, we're not.
Okay, it's number
Oh,
9.
you said 9. I'm sorry. I heard 8. I apologize. Yeah, I'm getting old. So is there anybody here for Chestnut Hill Drive? Hearing none. Is there any discussion for the administration with regard to the street acceptance?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay, is there a motion?
Accept it.
Motion to accept the street acceptance was made by Councilor Pelletier. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Dion. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. All right, item 9. Final report, Bell Street from Corbett Street to Candy Street. Referred to the committee on July 13th, 2021. A few folks who want to speak on this matter want to come down.
So, I don't know if you want to wait till they come down. I just wanted to say something.
Are we starting with proponents?
So
or
I'll turn it over to
opponents?
Mr. Perry. He wants to make some comments.
Good evening, folks. So, just
So
when
we'll take one at a time, but we'll get around to everybody. Okay.
I'll give my
So-
take.
Oh, that's fine. You want to do that? So, Ms. Perry, you want to?
Yeah, so I just wanted to make a brief comment before everybody gets to give their input. So when I came in tonight, I spoke to a resident from the area. I think the idea is that we're going to open up Bell Street. This is an acceptance so that we can accept it and pave it eventually. So we're going to pave that.
Chapter 90 money.
Right, exactly. So this isn't a situation where we're accepting Bell Street so that we can open it up. It's just an acceptance, because until we accept it, we can't pave it. So I just want to make everybody aware of that. The plan is not to open it up. So I'm not sure if that's a misconception, but, from the engineering department.
So when we say open up the dead end, is that what we're
open up
talking
the
about?
dead end.
Okay.
I think that was a perception that was being had from some of the residents, and just, I want to assure you that that isn't the plan, okay? So.
You can't use Chapter 90 funds
Yep.
if it's not accepted.
Right, and part of the Chapter 90 funds is the state transportation money that comes in from the state that funds road work, and that's where a majority of our money comes from. So part of money that in the allocation that comes down is based on the acceptance, the square footage that we have, or square miles, I should say, for roadways that are accepted. So in order to be able to apply that money to that road, we need to make sure that it's accepted. So the administration has stated, for the record, for my colleagues, that there is no intention to open it up, so it will continue to be a dead end. So the intent is really just for paving. At that point, I'll open it up to any folks that want to speak on the matter. Just, you can state your name and address for the record.
Chris and Stephanie Benjamin, 35 Bell Street. There's only 2 houses on Bell Street, so.
Okay.
Right.
So, and we kind of like it like that. Yeah, we were definitely under the impression that it was going to be to open it up.
Correct.
The way that we read the paperwork, that's kind of how it sounded. That is a concern for us, because at the moment, the street is only 12 feet.
Yeah.
At its widest. Was it 12? 9. 12.9 at its widest. So to make it wide enough to support 2 cars, you'd have to take quite a bit of land.
Correct.
So that was definitely a major concern. But if it's just for paving, that'd be great. 'Cause,
Right.
Yeah, we've wanted that. I think we can agree.
And
We've
that's-
wanted
and
that
that's why-
for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been playing that for about 5 years.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to make that statement prior to, because I'm sure
Yeah.
you're passionate about it. So
yeah.
just to assure you that that's the case. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if there's
John,
any
is
other
the
issues, then
is-
then
I-
Can you
please.
just
know
state
that,
your-
but it-
I'm sorry, can you just
Oh,
state
sorry,
your
Sean.
name and
260
address?
Corbett Street, Fall River, Mass.
Name.
Chatterton, Glenn.
Perfect.
Chatterton. Now, just one question follow-up. Is it going to stay 12 feet, or are you going to open up how wide is you going to build at Bell Street?
So our consulting engineers will lay out what we're going to pave. I can't answer that question right now, but when we're set to pave, they'll come out, they'll evaluate the area, and they'll give us the layout that they suggest that we make the street.
Right.
So I think your question is really the right-of-way that the city owns. So
Right,
do you anticipate taking is there
It's
a lot of...
possible if the street is, as you say, only 12 feet, 9 inches wide, there may be a little bit of taking that we'll need to do to make the
Yeah.
street acceptable.
Sure.
But I can't answer that question wholeheartedly right now.
Right,
But
and
it
how
wouldn't
long-
be as
How
though,
long is that closing of Bell Street going to last? Is it on the books that it can't be open previously? Because I live on the corner of, you could bring it up, Sean, if you'd like to, on the corner of Corbett and Morrison Street. And what happened to Morrison Street was that they had built homes up on Kennedy Street, and when they cut through Morrison Street, it's not just for those 9 homes up there or 10 homes. The whole Royal Crest uses that for an exit to come out now.
Right.
Instead of going, I don't know if the legalities are done with the front of Courtney Street. Was there litigation there about the entrance there? Because it was nice because Dennis and John came out. I have an issue about the pavement work on Corbett Street. We have a water cut. We have the gas cut.
Yep.
And we have sewer cuts on there. So
And a
I would
lot
like
of
to
there.
invite any councils to drive out there, but I know what we go through with Morrison Street, because when they were building all those houses now, they use that for an extension. It's gone from a quiet, peaceful neighborhood, which is the nicest thing, is that we are good neighbors, and that's the safety, and that's not the neighbors, but the kids in the neighborhood. And they've used Morrison Street to bring in all the heavy equipment, to go down and build the 60-plus homes that, you know, they're developing down there, and now they're adding more. And my question is, there are other ways for that development to get out of, using side street. Corbett Street's not even wide enough, and I showed John about Morrison Street. It's 18 feet wide with 2 berms, 20 feet. So really, that's not an illegal street. And it's just seems like the people of Corbett Street are we keep on getting slammed because Steam put the cart before the before the horse, and now he's trying to figure ways to get out. And with the more development coming down there, and I know the train's coming down, and hopefully that works out. I would have rather seen 24 open wider, but I'm getting off the subject now. But
I was just going to gavel you.
yeah,
No, just go ahead.
yeah, I know. But I just want to let you know that what happened on Morris Street, I didn't want to happen to Bell Street. And now that it's
Appreciate that.
clarified that
Yeah.
that's the main reason. But I just want to again thank
Yeah.
John and Dennis for coming out and listen to what I had to say, and the city responded, and we on Corbett Street appreciated that a lot.
you're welcome, sir.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, Ms. Perry, thank you for clarifying that, made it a little bit easier. Is
Yeah.
there any further discussion or a motion?
Oh,
Council Pelletier?
Motion to accept the final report.
Motion to accept the final report was made by Council Pelletier,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Dion. We do have a discussion, just name and address for the record.
Yes, Frederick Pont, 30 Bell Street. My concern is what was talking about widening the road itself. When I purchased that house 25 years ago by Mr. Steen, we're all familiar with Mr. Steen, he told me, he says, you don't need to worry. He says, you can bring your lawn right down to the road. He says, and do whatever you need. He says, because that's going to be your property. And I said, okay. So what I did is I brought the lawn down to the road, and I also had 2 stone walls built down to the road. And also my sprinkler system runs along the bottom of the road. So now my concern is what is going to happen to my wall, my sprinkler system, and some of my lawn if we do need to widen the road.
So I'll say this, when it comes to statements made by developers or contractors to the homeowners that they're potential buyers, I can't speak to why, he would have said that. What I will say is common knowledge, and maybe you didn't know, and that's fine, but common knowledge is that there is an easement on every property within the city that the city has the right to take if need be. Now, I will say this, our intent is never to disrupt anybody's lives or take anything that we don't need to take. So I'll restate what I had said earlier as far as the engineering firm, that we have that lay out the roadways. So it's their responsibility to give us their recommendations as to what we need to do to make a safe street for everybody. So if they say we need 3 feet or we need 4 feet, so 2 feet on each side, that's what we will have to take. I will apologize to you up front for Mr. Steen if you built your wall, you put your sprinklers, and that has to be moved. But unfortunately, that is the case where if we do need it, then we have the right to take it. Not that we want to or we want to disrupt your life, but that is something we would have to do if need be. With that said, we don't like to do that, so if we can get the layout to where it's not affecting your property, then we'll look to do that.
What is code for a legal street?
For a legal street, I'm going to refer to Mr. Silva because I don't want to give you the wrong information. I think it's
different layouts
right.
throughout the city, but the majority of the layouts are 40-foot layout. 26 for the street, 7 and 7. 40-foot layouts, which is 26-foot roadway surface, and 7 and 7 for potential sidewalks. That's what we call a 40-foot layout. We have streets that are 22 feet, that have the berm on either side, a foot and a foot on either side, with the roadway being 18 feet, actually 20 feet, I'm sorry. We try to, so you're saying it's like 12 feet now? So that's basically, because there's only 2 houses on there, basically that's like almost like a private driveway. I was the sector leader for 20 years in that area. I know I sent plows down there. They have to back out. If we send a salter down there, we have to back the salter in. Trash trucks have to back down to pick up your trash. When we do accept this street, because we want to pave it, we can't use the funds unless we get it accepted. Could it possibly be opened up to 18 to 20 feet? That'll be up to the engineers that go in there and look at it, and because it's not going to be really two-way traffic. I mean, cars come in, even when we sent plows down there. Either yourself or you would sneak by, or you have to wait until one pulls out. We did some patching down there. The road was falling apart pretty bad, and we went down there and we did some patching.
Yes.
So we'd like to see it at least 18 to 20 feet. Try to get it open up a little more, but again, that would be up to the engineers to go in there and decide what would be able to work when we.
I mean, at the moment, there's. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
At the moment, there's, when you first come down Bell Street, there's a lot of dead space.
Right.
There's a lot of grass on both sides before you get, like where the, where the utility trucks, garbage, plows, stuff like that have to come down the street. Plenty of room right there to widen it before you get to Fred's property or our property. So yeah, something like that would be fine. I mean, there's plenty of room to widen that.
There's
So,
also a telephone pole at the top of our driveway that would
Have
be in
to,
the way.
yeah,
Right.
But again,
Right.
I think before you even get to that, there's plenty of room to widen that. That would make it work. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other discussion?
No, if anybody wants to read a book about Corbett Street, 1934
Is it
Mayor
February-
Wright
February
Stone,
Hill?
yeah. I got a map here from 1941 about how it used to look like, and I've got plenty of notes here that we're not going to go into because it's basically whatever Steve wanted, he got, and I just hope that the city is welcome to come out and check it like John and Dennis did. And I want to know how those other houses being developed are going to find a pathway out to Robertson Street.
Yeah, that's a discussion for the planning board, unfortunately, that they're in charge with the subdevelopment approval process and,
Right.
you know, so.
And we were in 14, we were down at the planning board, and the neighbors of Corbett Street blocked them from using Corbett Street to go down to the development. And it was planned that there was supposed to be a fence there, and it was supposed to put cement all down sidewalks and all, but he cried poverty. Kenny Steen crying poverty. So nothing got done down there.
Yeah.
Really, it's a mess down there if you take a ride down there. But I just brought it to attention to John and Dennis about the issues we have. John talked about probably getting Corbett Street paved next year. The $35 million came down. We don't know if that other $35 million is coming down. And if it's planned for next year's budget, I mean, is there a shortfall? Are we going to be the shortfall street?
Yeah, in terms of the paving list, I mean, that's really the administration. There are a number of streets, but the first process is what we're doing now is the street acceptance, so that would open us up to more funding, so allow us to get, and it's not a whole lot more funding, but it gives us more funding because we're allowed to count more mileage in terms of roadways. So with that, there's a motion made by Councilor Pelletier, seconded by Councilor Dion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Thank you, folks.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 10 is a final report for Small Street from President Ave to a dead end, and also 280 feet of Stanley Street from Small Street to Damon Street. This was referred to the committee on July 13th, 2021. Council Pelletier, welcome back.
Sit down.
Take your time. I think we have a first aid kit if you want to redress that wound.
No, I'll have to when I get home. It's all over the place. It keeps growing. I'll wait till he gets done.
Oh, my God.
I know. I know. Michelle, you're going to get me in trouble.
Sorry.
You're going to get me in trouble.
I hit the floor.
This is on TV. You're going to get in trouble.
They're going to remove me as chair.
Okay.
Council Pelletier, you have the floor.
All right, if I may, we had a few people that wanted to come in and speak on this. They were concerned about traffic, I guess, going on the avenue, and they don't seem to be here tonight. So I'd like to hear more if we can get it to come in. So I'd like to make a motion that we table this.
Motion to table was made by Councilor Pelletier. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Dion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Item number 11 is a resolution to discuss safety hazard created by limited lighting on public streets. This was tabled in committee on January 14th, 2021. Is there a motion to lift from the table?
Motion to lift from the table?
Motion was made by Councilor Dion, seconded by Councilor Pelletier. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Items on the table. To the administration, do we still have any concerns? I know I've seen, I think it was Bishop Electric going around, so that they are changing out the bulbs. You know, especially in my neighborhood, they've done that. That's, you know, it's significantly brighter. I can tell you that.
Yeah, so I want to apologize. I want to make sure everybody's aware. I'm not sure if Ms. Taylor was aware that this runs through facilities maintenance. So this would be Ms. Oh, she's here. Okay. All right. So you'd probably want Ms. Matinian to come.
Can you?
I wasn't sure she was here.
She snuck in on you.
Quiet as a church mouse.
Thank you. So.
How are you?
Good, and yourself?
Good. So we still have, and I'm not sure if the committee wants to keep this in committee, but with the fact that Bishop Electric is going out and there are some changes going on with the street lighting, from my standpoint, it seems like it's being corrected. Is there a quick update in terms of where we stand?
That project is complete.
Okay.
We've
Perfect.
changed out over 6,000 lights
Mhm.
today, and yeah, Amoresco says they're done. Bishop says he's done.
Great.
So we're good. If there's any other issues.
And they just completed
let
that,
us
right?
know.
Like, I want to say about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago?
No, I want to say.
Was it more?
A couple of months ago.
Really? So was Bishop just replacing light bulbs, maybe?
No, he still goes out and does, any repairs that we
Okay.
need. So our call volume has decreased tremendously, so he's pretty much right on top of it.
Okay.
As we get him in, I divvy him out, and he's.
All right. Was that, you want to speak, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Council Pelletier.
I'd like to ask Tammy a question.
Yes.
Now, did the city spend any money, or this all,
That all
the
went
company
through
that
Amoresco,
paid for everything?
as far as I know, right?
Yeah, there was a little, just a backstory, there was a little concern about, and I think you may be aware of it, but they were trying to originally say that the city was on the hook for the replacement of this, and it wasn't under
Yeah, I
warranty and
remember
all that stuff, so I think that's where the line
Well,
of,
that's a good thing. A lot of times we get the short end of the stick. But I know it's working pretty good because when at twilight time, just getting dark, and you see the mouses running around. So we know we got
That
more
would be
lights.
Mr. Perry's department.
With that, I yield.
any discussion?
Almost said.
Seeing none, is there a motion grant leave to withdraw?
I would make the motion, grant leave to withdraw.
Motion grant leave to withdraw was made by Councilor Dion, seconded by
Second.
Councilor Pelletier. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So voted. Motion carries. Seeing nothing else, is there a motion to
Motion
adjourn?
adjourned.
Second.
Motion to adjourn was made by Councilor Pelletier, seconded by Councilor Dion. For the clerk, I'll just note that I went through 11 items in less than an hour and a half, so kudos to me. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So voted. Motion carries.
It's unusual for you.
The Committee on Public Works Transportation is now adjourned.